Have you ever met someone who didn't say much, but the moment they spoke, you just knew? There was something different about them? They didn't brag. They didn't flash credentials. But somehow, you could feel it. There was sharpness behind their words. They saw things other people didn't. They made connections that most people would never think of. And even in silence, they felt intelligent. Here's the strange part. That kind of intelligence, you can't fake it. You can't learn it from a book. You can't cover it up with flashy words or expensive degrees. In fact, some of the smartest people in the world don't look or act smart at all. They might be messy, quiet, playful, maybe even a little odd. But underneath all that is a mind that works on a different level. Deeper, sharper, quieter, faster. And once you learn what to look for, you'll start noticing it everywhere. People who aren't trying to show off, but who quietly live and think on a higher frequency. The problem is, most people think they already know what intelligence looks like. They think it means remembering facts, getting straight A's, speaking with confidence, dominating conversations. But that's not intelligence. That's performance. It's surface level. It's showmanship. Real intelligence doesn't always talk the loudest. It doesn't always have the best resume. It doesn't care about praise or recognition. What it does care about is seeing the truth, solving problems, making sense of the chaos. And often, it doesn't announce itself. It simply is. So when you meet someone who doesn't follow the usual rules, who doesn't think the way everyone else thinks, don't rush to judge them. Don't assume they're weird or lazy or lost, because maybe, just maybe, they're operating on a level most people can't see. Most of us miss these people. We ignore the quiet ones. We overlook the unconventional thinkers. We celebrate those who talk the most, even when they say the least. And we ignore the ones who observe, who reflect, who question. But real intelligence isn't loud. It's not perfect. It's not always polished. It's something deeper, and often something invisible. So here's the question. What if you could spot real intelligence, not by what someone says, but by how they see the world? What if you could recognize it, not by how confident they act, but by how their mind moves? Because the truth is, there are signs, genuine ones, and they're hard to fake. They reveal how a person processes the world, how they think through problems, how they understand people and themselves. In this video, we're going to explore 15 of those signs. Each one is a window into how real intelligence works. Some will surprise you. Others might describe people you've always admired but never fully understood. And some might even describe you. So pay close attention, because once you learn to spot these signs, you'll never see people the same way again. And you'll start to realize that intelligence isn't about looking smart, it's about being awake. Sign 1. The tides of change. One of the most powerful signs of intelligence isn't how much you know, it's how well you adapt. Intelligent people aren't just smart in calm, predictable situations. They shine in chaos. When plans fall apart, when something unexpected happens, when pressure is on and there's no time to prepare, intelligent minds adjust. They don't panic. They don't freeze. They assess, shift, and act. Even if they're uncomfortable, they figure things out. They improvise. They learn on the fly. That kind of flexibility isn't random. It's the result of deep cognitive processing. While most people rely on routines or scripts, intelligent people respond to the moment. They use pattern recognition, emotional regulation, and strategic thinking, all in real time. It's not about being fearless, it's about being fluid. Intelligence means you can bend without breaking. And no matter the situation, you find a way to stay sharp. Sign 2. Outlandish originality. Another unmistakable sign. A constant stream of strange, creative, and often outrageous ideas. Highly intelligent people make connections fast, so fast that their thoughts can feel chaotic, even to themselves. They take fragments from one area of life and link them to something completely unrelated. A song lyric becomes a business idea. A childhood memory unlocks a theory. A random question turns into an entire project. Not every idea is genius. Some are bizarre, risky, or downright silly. But that's not the point. The point is, their mind produces, it creates, it questions. It never stops looking for new angles. While others play it safe or repeat what they've heard, intelligent people explore the unknown. They're not afraid to sound weird. In fact, they often do sound weird. But that's because they're not trying to fit in. They're trying to figure things out. Creativity isn't a bonus trait. It's core to how their brain works. And that originality, you can't fake it. It either flows through you or it doesn't. Sign 3. The cognizant recluse. We often picture intelligent people as loners, isolated, emotionally distant, trapped in their own minds. And sometimes that's true. But real intelligence doesn't mean emotional blindness. In fact, many of the most intelligent people are deeply aware, not just of themselves, but of others. They may not speak up in group settings, they may avoid drama, but they're always watching, processing, noticing subtle cues most people miss. A glance, a hesitation, a change in tone. These small things speak volumes to someone who's truly perceptive. Even if they don't react, they register it. This kind of quiet awareness is often confused with introversion or awkwardness, but it's something more, a cognitive empathy, an ability to feel the room, to understand people without needing to dominate them. Some of the most brilliant minds are also the most gentle. They don't talk over others, they listen, and what they hear stays with them. Real intelligence isn't just cold logic, it includes emotional clarity, the kind that allows you to read a person's pain without them saying a word. That kind of awareness can't be taught, and it can't be faked. Sign 4. Disorderly experimentation. Intelligent people are often misunderstood because they don't always operate in straight lines. Their spaces are messy. Their thoughts jump from one topic to another. Their interests shift weekly. To an outsider, it can look chaotic, like they're unfocused or undisciplined. But there's something deeper happening. Disorder isn't a lack of direction, it's a sign of exploration. Intelligent minds are constantly tinkering, testing new ideas, asking new questions. They don't wait for perfect plans. They dive in, make mistakes, learn, and pivot. One day they're obsessed with a scientific theory. The next they're drawing abstract art. It's not that they can't commit, it's that their curiosity pulls them in too many directions to ignore. And while 99% of what they explore leads nowhere, the 1% that does, it's often brilliant. Real intelligence doesn't follow a straight path, it wanders, it experiments. And in that disorganized pursuit of meaning, it often discovers things no one else even thought to look for. Sign 5. The gift of music. Music is one of the purest expressions of intelligence, and not just in terms of talent. People with natural musical ability often possess unique cognitive strengths, pattern recognition, auditory sensitivity, emotional intuition. They don't just enjoy music, they feel it. They can hear the rhythm behind the chaos. They instinctively understand flow, timing, and structure. And they create music not through strict calculation, but through emotional connection. It doesn't matter if they're classically trained or self-taught. What matters is how effortlessly they interpret sound and turn it into something beautiful. Whether it's singing, improvising, remixing, or simply recognizing a song after hearing 2 notes, musical intelligence is hard to fake. It reflects a mind that listens differently, a mind that understands complexity through intuition. And often, people with this gift don't even realize it's a form of intelligence. They just know music makes sense to them when so many other things don't. Sign 6. Profound predictions. Ever met someone who just knows what's going to happen next? Not because they're psychic, but because they're paying attention? That's another deep sign of intelligence. The ability to recognize patterns and predict outcomes. Intelligent people spot the invisible threads connecting one event to the next. They notice behaviors, cycles, repeated dynamics, and while others are reacting, they're already 5 steps ahead. It might show up in conversation. They anticipate your next question before you ask it. Or in work, they see problems before they appear. Or in life, they avoid toxic relationships, not because of luck, but because they read the warning signs. This predictive clarity isn't magic. It's analysis, it's experience, it's awareness. And it gives intelligent people a quiet edge. While others move blindly, they move strategically. Because they're not just living in the moment, they're reading it. Sign 7. Thirst for knowledge. The most intelligent people are never done learning. Not because they're trying to prove anything, but because their minds crave understanding. They ask questions constantly. They read without being told. They dive into unfamiliar subjects, not for approval, but for clarity. If something doesn't make sense, they have to figure it out. If they hear something new, they won't rest until they know more. And it's not just about facts or trivia. It's about insight. It's about seeing how things work, how they connect, how they evolve. This thirst for knowledge is relentless. It doesn't slow down with age. It doesn't fade with achievement. In fact, the smarter someone is, the more they realize how much they don't know. And that's what drives them. While others feel satisfied with surface answers, intelligent people keep digging. Not because they're unsatisfied, but because they're wired to understand. You can't fake that hunger. You either have it or you don't. Sign 8, uncanny abilities. Some people pick things up faster than others. They read something once and remember it. They try a new skill and master the basics in a day. They don't need endless repetition or detailed instructions. They just get it. This is one of the clearest markers of natural intelligence, accelerated learning. While others are still figuring out step 1, they've already moved on to step 4. They absorb patterns, ideas, and systems without needing to be taught. And what's even more surprising is that this skill isn't limited to one area. It shows up everywhere. One moment they're writing poetry, the next they're solving tech problems. Their brain is like a sponge, but sharper. Not only do they retain, they apply, they adapt, they connect, and it can make others feel like they're effortlessly good at everything, even though they've barely just begun. But this isn't arrogance, it's instinct, a mental engine that's always running. You can't fake that level of intuitive learning. You either have the software or you don't. Sign 9, an expansive vocabulary. You don't need to use big, complicated words to sound intelligent. In fact, the smartest people usually prefer clarity over complexity. But make no mistake, language matters. Intelligent people tend to have an unusually deep command of their native language. They use precise words. They speak with structure and rhythm, and they rarely ramble. Even when they're thinking out loud, you can hear the logic in their sentences. You can feel the intention behind their words. They don't speak to impress, they speak to express. And that's the difference. Anyone can throw around jargon. Anyone can memorize long words. But real intelligence shows up in how you simplify ideas, not complicate them. If someone can take a difficult concept and explain it in a single, clear sentence, that's a sign. A big one. It means their thoughts are organized. It means their mind isn't just full, it's focused. And that kind of linguistic precision? You can't perform it. You have to think it before you can say it. Sign 10, precise recollection. Most people forget. Names, numbers, conversations, facts. Details fade. But some people remember with astonishing accuracy, not just what was said, but how it was said. Where they were, what time it happened, who was involved. These people have minds like archives. And while it might seem like a neat party trick, this kind of memory is a serious cognitive advantage. It allows for deeper reasoning, faster connections, better decision-making. It's not about memorizing random trivia, it's about retaining meaningful information and recalling it exactly when it matters. Tests, strategy, timing, negotiation, storytelling. It all improves when your mind can store and retrieve specifics. And this ability isn't just about raw memory, it's about attention. Intelligent people notice things most others overlook. They encode information with more clarity. And that's why they can bring it back, word for word, weeks or even years later. You can't train that kind of memory overnight. It's a natural sign of a highly active and highly aware mind. Sign 11, moments of inspiration. Here's something you don't see coming. Intelligent people rarely stick to rigid plans. They might start with structure, but somewhere along the way, a spark hits, a flash of inspiration, a gut instinct that pulls them in a new direction. And when it hits, they follow it, even if it derails their schedule, even if it changes the whole project. These moments of inspiration might seem random to others, but to intelligent people, they're a signal, a mental breakthrough, a solution that appears suddenly, without warning but filled with clarity. It's not luck, it's not daydreaming, it's the result of deep, often unconscious processing. While others grind through problems, intelligent minds step back, rethink, and pivot. They don't just work hard, they work differently. They make room for insight, and when it shows up, they don't second-guess it. They move, they act, they trust the breakthrough. Because they've learned, some of the best ideas don't come from control. They come from letting the mind roam and being ready when the spark arrives. Sign 12, diverse expertise. Highly intelligent people are rarely limited to just one subject. Over time, they accumulate knowledge across a wide range of topics, sometimes deeply, sometimes broadly, but always with curiosity. They might be an engineer who can talk about philosophy, a musician who understands economics, a therapist who loves astrophysics. It's not about being an expert in everything. It's about being interested in everything and picking up patterns along the way. When they speak, they can draw examples from psychology, history, pop culture, or physics, all in one conversation. Not to show off, but because their brain naturally connects dots between disciplines. And what's more impressive is how fluid their mind is. They shift perspectives easily. They explore new ideas without getting stuck in rigid beliefs. If you've ever met someone who seems like they can talk to anyone about anything and still say something thoughtful every time, they're not bluffing. They're just built to absorb, explore, and translate across mental worlds. That range, that agility, it's a quiet sign of brilliance. Sign 13, a source of wisdom. People don't always ask the smartest person in the room for advice. They ask the one who actually listens and who speaks in a way that brings clarity. If others come to you for guidance, not just facts, but perspective, it might be a sign that you have something rare, wisdom. Intelligent people aren't always loud, but they tend to see through noise. They ask the right questions. They simplify the messy parts of life. And when they speak, others feel seen, not judged. Maybe you're the person who helps others see their situation from a new angle, or the one who knows how to reframe a problem so it suddenly feels solvable. This ability isn't just emotional, it's cognitive. It comes from observation, reflection, empathy, and pattern recognition. And it doesn't show up in tests or degrees. It shows up in conversations. If others trust your judgment without needing to be convinced, it's because your mind has earned that trust through lived intelligence. You don't need to announce your wisdom. People feel it. Sign 14, enhanced perception. Most people walk through the world half asleep. They see, but they don't notice. They hear, but they don't listen. But truly intelligent people are hyper-aware. They pick up on micro details, the change in someone's tone, the rearranged books on a shelf, the emotional energy in a room. It's not always conscious. Often, it's intuitive. Their brain is constantly scanning, absorbing, and analyzing, even when they're not trying. This heightened perception gives them an edge in relationships, in work, in art, in leadership. It's what helps them avoid danger, solve problems faster, or spot an opportunity others missed. But it can also be exhausting. Because when you notice everything, it's hard to tune out. Still, it's a gift, one that can't be faked or forced. You either walk into a room and feel what's happening before anyone says a word, or you don't. And that depth of perception, that constant state of alert observation, it's not just a trait. It's a signature of raw, unfiltered intelligence. Sign 15, the bigger picture. Real intelligence isn't just about logic, memory, or fast learning. It's about vision. The ability to see beyond the moment, to understand how today's actions shape tomorrow's reality, to recognize the ripple effects most people miss. Highly intelligent people are constantly scanning for long-term outcomes. They don't just make choices, they calculate trajectories. And even when they fail, they don't spiral. Because to them, failure isn't a wall, it's a doorway, a signal that something new needs to be learned. This perspective allows them to make bold moves, take smart risks, and lead with confidence. But most importantly, it gives them resilience. They know no decision is perfect. No plan is final. Everything is in motion. And that's the point. The smartest minds don't just solve the current problem, they step back and see the entire system, the whole landscape, and they play the long game, while others are still reacting to the last move. So now you've seen it. 15 signs of intelligence you can't fake. Not one of them is about grades or job titles or how fast you can answer a trivia question. Because intelligence, in its truest form, isn't about what's visible. It's about what's real. It's how you adapt when the world shifts beneath you. How you create when others follow. How you listen more than you speak. It's the way you see connections no one else notices. The way your mind wanders into strange questions. The way you feel when a sudden idea grabs you and won't let go. Real intelligence isn't polished. It's not always neat. Sometimes it's messy, unpredictable, and misunderstood. But you'll know it when you see it. And more importantly, you'll feel it when it's inside you. Because maybe you've related to some of these signs. Maybe you've heard them and thought, wait, that sounds like me. If so, this video wasn't just a list, it was a mirror. And what it's reflecting isn't someone who needs to prove their intelligence. It's someone who's already living it. So the next time you doubt yourself, remember this. The smartest people are usually the last to call themselves smart. Not because they're unsure, but because they're still learning, and they always will be. But now, let me ask you this. Which of these signs do you see in yourself? And more importantly, which one surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. And if you found even one idea in this video that made you think differently, then hit that subscribe button. Because here on PsychVerseX, we explore the hidden truths most people avoid. The kind that don't just inform you, they change how you see everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.